This will be strange news to you, but I found a new teacher this week. And his name is Jiva. And it sounds a lot like Shiva, but it's Jiva. And it's Turkish. And he is the most astounding, profound, simple teacher I have ever come across. And I'm about to show you his photo. Are you ready? One more time. He's 9 weeks old, and he was purchased, if you will, by my son Ari and his wife Burju. He is a Weimar dog, and he is now 9 weeks old. And he arrived at their home almost the same day we did, which was, he came Sunday, we came Monday in Washington, D.C. And my daughter-in-law, Burju, turns out to be the most instructive, instinctive teacher I have ever come across, and one of the best students, because Jiva was teaching her every instant about what it meant to be new to this world, what it meant to be part of life with no programming at all, just here. There were certain things that Jiva knew. It liked to sleep, loved to pee, occasionally liked to poop, and loved to eat snacks. And that was its totality of existence. He was unbelievably smart, so that by the 6th hour, if you will, of his presence in their home, he understood the directive to sit. And anytime food was offered, he understood that it came with that directive. If you sit, you will get pleasure. If you listen, you will receive. If you don't, things won't go so well. And I won't go into all the training that took place in the week we were there, but every one of us was trained. Every one of us. We learned how to make Jiva happy, and he knew how to make us happy. And there was love beyond understanding, just flowing back and forth. There were problems. There were poops in the wrong places. There were pees that shouldn't have happened. And he had to be let out every night. Every 2 hours, he had to go outside to pee. And I never had a puppy at that age, so I wasn't aware of that, and no way I could pull that off at this point. But they were, Ari and Burju, wonderful. They woke up, they went downstairs, they took the dog out, they went back upstairs, and went back to sleep. And I heard a little bit of pitter patter, and my heart just opened, because there was new life, vibrancy, excitement, the beginning of a program of learning how to be in the world. And if he practiced and did that work well, everyone would be happy, everyone. And his aim was to please, but his aim was to express what he wanted and felt and knew he needed. And so he was very clear about what really was going on. And if he was over tense, Burju knew how to comfort him. If he was startled, she knew how to take him and take care of him. And he learned and learned to be more and more expansive, even to go out into the university grounds across the street and walk on a leash. He had never done that and had to feel what that was all about. And I watched him every minute, and I just went, "You're getting it." And it's not unlike every one of us. We are all programmed from an early age. Some of us have good programmers. Some of us have not such good programmers. That is the nature of life. There are mothers and fathers. There are all sorts of people involved in your teaching. There are fire engines that go by that are unexplainable on every level, and your whole psyche has no idea what to do with it. How you program that into the system is your weaving of a personality and a persona that starts to become more and more reinforced by day-to-day experience, and you become a person. A dog becomes a dog, but each one of us is going through similar constructs. We are weaving a being, a person, a, a dog, and we are weaving it well or not so well, and every one of us very differently because the circumstances in everybody's home, everybody's life is so different. There are certain commonalities, yes, but there are also enormous differences in every moment to moment part of our existence. And learning how to be a person and learning how to be a dog is it's not dissimilar, but a person is much more complex. And that process goes on and on and on. But it does start to take on certain commonalities by certain ages. We are at a certain point the person we're going to be for the rest of our life. We're just that person. And however things come in, it will be interpreted through the lens that we were programmed with in that first week, month, year, or whatever of our life. And we are processing the experience of being in the world and being alive through a very specific construct that is in some ways the door to liberation and in some ways a door to conflict and struggle and drama. And each one of us has our own version of that. If you are lucky, somewhere along the way, you begin to be aware that this construct is not absolute. It is a temporary structure, and it is a structure that you inhabit for the course of your life. But if you're initiated through something called spiritual awakening, suffering, pain, something that wakes you up to look at the totality and to see the world not just through your own personal eyes, but through the eyes of the community and the world of humanity and animal life and plant life. And you start to see the entirety of it. That starts to change the equation in a very big way. And you no longer see it simply through me, I. You start to see it through we, us, the totality. Not a lot of people do that. Many people only see it through the I. And they see it that way the entire time that they're in this world. And they are barking and angry and struggling and frustrated because nothing and listens to them and nothing understands them. And the food doesn't come when they want it to come. And they're angry and they're pissed and life is hard. A lot of people like that. What about me? What about me? What about me? Beginning of the spiritual journey is, of course, starting to go us. How about us? And we start to think of the collective. We start to think of the community. We start to think of the world as a collective experience. Not a lot of people pull that off, but it is really powerful because it really expands your awareness. So you are suddenly not just me and I, but you are one with all there is in terms of the manifested world. But then something else starts to happen. And for those of us who are on this journey into enlightenment or awakening, something bigger is happening. And that is not only are we part of a collective as a group, we are part of something beyond description, something that is actually manifesting our existence. And a few of us get to go, wow, wow. We can't describe it. We can't explain it. We can't even know what it is, but we go, something is driving the show. Something is creating it. Now, obviously, billions of people over the course of time have had some glimmer of that, but they go very, very quickly into the teaching of the society and the masses, which says, oh, it's God. God. Three letters, G-O-D. And it has created all of this, and this is what it is, and this is how it works, and it all filters in very quickly. And they go to celebrate that. A lot of people every weekend, sometime on the weekend, and take a day off, and they go to celebrate the thing that brought it all into being. But that celebration is not often much deeper than the day to day I, me. What about me? Okay, God, what about me? So there's a dialogue of sorts, but it's very selfish, it's very self directed. And it's not what about us, it's what am I supposed to do? How do I do this? Tell me. And it's a very limited, shallow experience of the vastness and the impossibility of something that you can understand that brought all of this into being. And to give it a name and to give it a construct and say this is what it is, da, 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 just puts it into a safe place for people. And they walk around going, okay, I get it. And if I go and I go to the church and I go to the synagogue and I go to the mosque and I do my prayers and do all this stuff, I personally, me, will be watched over and taken care of. But now this goes into my own personal journey, but and it's also a spiritual lesson, and it's not new, and I can't tell you its source exactly, but it's this word or this sentence that's really been potent to me this week. And it's that nobody dies. There is nobody who dies. Now that's mysterious. What does that mean? How can nobody die? I mean, we all die. And what does that nobody mean? Is it a collective? Is it a singular? What does that mean that there is no I that dies? And that's a very profound kind of sort of sort of reach inside to begin to understand that this person that you are that is struggling, even as you sit here today, to reach awakening and enlightenment. I can only tell you it cannot happen to you. You cannot be awakened or enlightened because there is no you. There is only namelessly this. And yes, you do feel that you are a part of this, a singular part or a collective part. If you're very uninformed, then it's very much me, me, me. If you're more open and aware, it's us and all of being. But none of it ultimately is absolute and true. It is something we experience. We experience the I, we experience the we feel that we are a part of something. But the real awakening is there is no we or I. There only is. And that is not an abstraction or an intellectual concept. There is this, we call it life, energy, being, whatever. I have now called it radiance. I love the word radiance, as you know. There is this radiance that appears to take on name and form in multitudes of ways. So there are 8 billion forms of our human beings right now on this planet, all living and walking around thinking that they are an I. I am this person in this world and in this situation and in this drama of life and being. And what you begin to discover, what Buddha certainly talked about or hinted at, was no, no. That I is more of a figment of imagination than you can possibly understand. It is a reality, in a sense, in the materialized manifestation of life, but it has no ultimate substance. It is not something that is so much born and dies. It is something that is now and has always been. Now, don't try to deal with that cognitively because it's going to mess up your brain. That's all I can tell you. But what I am experiencing and watching unfold in my ancient life here, 80, almost 82, is that the I that wants awakening and enlightenment and all that kind of stuff is fading away. It's being dismantled on some level. And I'm getting to share that experience with my wife. So Blanche and I are being dismantled together. And it is really strange to watch these things kind of fall away. And it can be very dramatic and it can be very nerve wracking and tension producing, or it can be, quote unquote, liberating. And the difference is, and I will just tell you this from my experience, and you can take it or leave it, whatever you want. But the difference is if you are fighting the loss of the I and the we, even, and the disintegration of the self that wants to be free and liberated and enlightened and find transcendence, if you are able to stop the process of trying to acquire liberation and acquire happiness and joy as a personal thing and just be present in a state of simplicity, kindness, love. If you can just do that, the process will go on and it will take care of itself. It will liberate you because there was no you. It will just stop having that as a focal point. And what will happen instead is what you will start to experience as, oh, oh. I was at, I had two Christmases this year. One was with Josh, Evan, Talia, Eli here at my house. And we celebrated an early Christmas because they're traveling around the West Coast. And we had a wonderful Christmas, joyful beyond belief. And we're, very ecumenical. We also celebrate Hanukkah, and we have this wonderful sense of the celebratory, and we do it all the time and have for decades. So it was really beautiful. And then we went to Ari and Burju's house in Washington and Washington D.C., and it was equally beautiful. And again, we were greeted by this new life, the dog, and we were greeted by a whole different lifestyle. Blanche and I love lights on everywhere. Light. I love light. I always have. Um, my son and his wife, Burju, hate light. They want it kind of dim and dark. I like my house warm and hot, even in the wintertime. They like it cold and sitting around with, shit with blankets. They don't sit with blankets. I want blankets and coats and all of that. The comfort levels were so different, so different. And there was nothing I could do to change it. There was not a dialogue to be had. There was nothing I could make manifest without making them unhappy. And so I decided to surrender and go, okay, I will get extra blankets. I will do whatever I can. I will sit with the lights dim, almost off, and I will live in that very different state. And I will do it with an open heart and love. So what was happening inside me was my reactive state, which was like that. I had to actually go, no, go the other way and go sit in the shadows, be available to the cold, live a life that does not appeal to Bruce. And it was beautiful. It was totally beautiful. And it was beautiful because the inner work was the work that Rudy taught from day one, acceptance and surrender. And the words that I get from the Dalai Lama and the Buddha is kindness in the face of things that are not easy. How do you turn that around? It's the simplest thing in the world. You just do it. Just do it. And it has to do with stopping going me, my. It even starts to move a little bit into the we and the us, but then it just becomes something else. It just becomes deep opening to the what is. I found myself in a state of such profound surrender. It was challenged regularly. My son Ari is a great challenger of my peace of mind and ease, but he is one of my great teachers. And I just learned to, yes, yes. His wife is like joy itself. I have never seen manifested a human being who emanates such beauty and I don't know what, just simple, profound kindness, all just automatically, it seems. But whatever I was getting in the mix was so instructive, so helpful, and I felt like I was falling away because the mechanism of letting go and just accepting and surrendering to the what is was so dynamic. And it's so what Rudy has taught since the beginning. You know, you can take your breath and ask inside for help to do it, which is core to the practice. But more importantly, just do it. Just do it. Just turn it around. Be kind. Be thoughtful. Be gentle. Accept. Surrender. If you want a spiritual practice in life, there you go. That's it. And what happens is that the thing, the mechanism that is starting to let go and free you of all of the me, I should be, which it could be, why isn't it like that? All that stuff falls away. And what remains, and you start to discover it, is this radiant force that's looking at itself and looking at the world through the eyes that you were given and the ears that you were given and the nose and the mouth and experiencing the incredible nature of existence and being. And it doesn't have a name. It doesn't have your name. I mean, it does temporarily, but if you want to find the magnitude of what it means to be alive, let go of you. Let go of trying. I mean, by that I mean, don't try so you can get. Just do it. Just open. Just be kind. Just be loving. Just be available. Just surrender. It's what the practice really is. And if you're doing it for a goal, it's going to be corrupted. It's not for a goal. It's just to do it. And if there is a goal, it's not about you. It's for the radiance itself that wants to shine into the world through you. It wants to light the world through you. And all you have to do is get out of the way, be nice, be kind, surrender, accept. Boom, 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 boom. It's very simple. And if you're walking around thinking you're going to get it, or you're going to have it, or you're going to radiate it, or you're going to be special, or you're going to be a teacher and a wise person and do all this stuff. That's fine if you want that. But I will tell you, when it comes time to die, no, there's nobody to die. There is no I. It's not there. And if you think it is, that's a process. You are going to watch this false I, this identified person that you think you are, be broken apart into a million pieces and torn apart and ripped apart. And the pain of it, all that stuff will be there. And all I can tell you, I'm not trying to tell you this is the reward for getting rid of that I, but it is, in a sense, what takes place. Let it go now. Do the work. Do the work. Let go, open, love, surrender, kind, and be that in the world. And then when the time comes for you to die, there's nobody there. There's just the radiance itself, and it doesn't die. I mean, that's my theory. If I'm wrong, forgive me, you'll find out. We'll all find out. But my sense of it right now is that it has never been other than this. It is, there is radiance, and there are people owning it. It manifests for its own truth and its own sake, and we get caught thinking we are it. And it's temporary. It comes and goes like flowers blossom on a tree and they die. Leaves come and they go. Sun rises and it sets. We come and we go the same way, the same way. And all you have to do, if you want to figure it out, is go, yep, thy will be done. Kindness, kindness. We had a stewardess on the airplane yesterday named Mary. Oh my God, she was so incredible. And we just talked. They upgraded us to first class. No, I no idea why. It was one of those things that happens, and there was nobody, hardly anybody else. So we just sat and talked, and it was radiance glowing in two directions. And it's like, yes, yes, it can be. It can be joyous and wonderful like this. We learned all about her life and her grandchildren and her new car and her kayaks and all of this stuff. It was so pleasurable, and we got a sunset. I will show you the. Can I show you the picture? Uh, I mean, a sunset like just you wouldn't believe. Of course, I won't be able to find it. But it was so spectacular. And we just had this exquisite landing. I mean, everything about it. And then we got to the car, and the car was covered in ice, and everything was awful. I mean, getting the car out of the garage was awful. It was problematic. And oh, here we go. Sunset. That was out the window. Yeah, that was just. I mean, it was so beautiful. And then we come into the ice mode, and driving home was fog and rain and ice and everything else. And you go, but I just had this beautiful sunset. I just had this. I'm so radiant. Why are you bringing me ice on my car? Why do I have to shovel it off of the car and make things work and drive at night and all of this? And the universe, which doesn't answer that, but the answer is because that's the answer. It's always been the answer. And you're not special. You never will be special. And if there is an I that's reacting to all of that, then spiritual work, be kind, be nice, go yes, accept. And Blanche sat next to me the whole ride. And it was like this, I cannot tell you, this loving presence, just this loving presence. And this ride that could have been so full of strum and drawing and the kind of rides I don't like to do anymore. I just felt I was with my wife. We're driving. And it was like so simple and beautiful. And then I won't go into all the stories. I always have endless stories, but Blanche lost her hearing aid, her charger for her hearing aids. And, if she can't hear, and then there's memory loss, and I have memory loss, and you can imagine the conflict that brings up. And so this morning we got up, and that was a search for hearing aids, and calling my son and looking for where's the charger for the hearing aids. And then, at some point, Blanche walked into the kitchen and said, "Oh, they were in my backpack." But the drama that goes into day-to-day life, and I'm sorry to bore you with my day-to-day life, but all I can tell you, suddenly I went, boom, gone, no problem, problem's gone. And I found that because I accepted, not I, because acceptance was happening, that the look and search for the hearing aid batteries and the drama that took place simply was of the moment. And then it was over, and it was another moment and a different moment. And the simplicity of going, yes, thy will be done, following the world as it gives you everything you want and takes everything away, is the journey we are on, every one of us. And I will tell you the secret, and it's the ultimate secret of all of this, is that no one dies, and that the way to get there is be a good, kind person during the course of your life. Consider the other, open, surrender, and be grateful for your journey. There you go. That's it. You got it all. Nothing left. And I will keep repeating this. And you can, and again, if you all, I've said this every time now, if you want to tune out, I am fine with that. I don't need this to do this all the time. On the other hand, and I'm going to use the word I as not quite Bruce, I love you. I care about you. And when I sit and do this class and the energy connects to each of you individually, as you are still at this point embodied and individual, the amount of love that comes through is beyond anything I, as a human being, know. It just happens. And I get to witness it, which is extraordinary. And it is radiant. And I know that it's not Bruce. It is the vastness of being that loves you. I cannot even begin to describe the you in your particular form and nature are loved. It is so remarkable. And all I can say is, I am thankful that I get to feel that, process it, I feel it move through me. And I know that it, in some ways, impacts your psychic system. And I know that something is happening that's important. Now I just I implore you, take that light or take that feeling and share it with others. That's all I can say. So we're at the end of a holiday, not almost at the end of a holiday season. It will be on Wednesday, Tuesday and Wednesday. So Happy New Year to everybody. I would encourage you to reach out to everyone you know and love and wish them a happy one. And I will tell you, It's going to be a hard year. It's going to be a tricky year. I can feel the tensions already in place. So the amount of work that's going to be required to keep people calm and centered is going to have to be supported. And the support's going to have to be is going to have to come from the few people who are able to provide that. And you are those people. So even though you may have other stuff to do and life is busy and difficult and you've got your own Sturm und Drang and dramas to deal with, reach out to other people and wish them a wonderful new year. Something simple. Do it because it's something that will help. I got a lot of greetings from all of you, and I've sent my greetings out to people. It is so wonderful. It feels so good and comforting, and the communion of it is so delicious. Be that. Reach out. I don't care if it's one person or 100 people. Make yourself known. Feel your own beauty and share it with the world. That's my message. Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for all being here. I can go for questions. If anybody has questions, I'm happy to do it. Wendy, your hand's up first.
Yes, thank you, Bruce. Beautiful talk. What caught my attention was when you talked about, not necessarily having goals, being more present with what is kind of a goalless, because the goals are connected to the I or identification with the I many times. So could you speak to, we're coming on a new year and some people are like, it's 2025, let's make it epic, or you made some epic movies in your lifetime. So there are these goals that people, especially still working and such have. How can you speak to goals in that regard where people are running businesses or writing novels and such, but to still have that healthy?
Well, it's very simple. It's very simple, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's Rudy's teaching of if it's in front of you, it's yours. So if there's a crumb on the ground, pick it up. If there's a novel in your brain, write it. Whatever it may be that's happening. If you have to make 30 calls to investors or people who are supporters or whatever it is, that it's on your to-do list for the day. Do it well. Do it well. This woman yesterday on the airplane was who helped us so much. She was just doing her job, but boy, she was doing it well. And that's all I'm saying. If it's in front of you, do it with love and kindness. And if you start to get angry and twist it up and knot it because it's so hard, unknot it and untwist it and get back to simple. Find your way. Find it. And if that takes a breath, going, please help me to surrender, please help me to accept, then do it. That's a great teaching. It's simple. If you can just do the unwind and just go be nice instead of angry, then you go do it that way. If you can go, I don't want to be tense and dramatic about this. I want to be simple and easy, do it. If it's in front of yours, it's you. The technique is simple. Either take a breath or just turn it into kindness, turn it into ease. You can do it. You have a life. You're here for a reason. We all have lives. We all do it ourselves. It's not about the reward of it, it's the doing of it. I wrote all these movies, and I will tell you the big takeaway of all the movies I ever wrote was the destruction of an ego. Because man, it was not easy. It was not easy. And I'm glad I did it. It has almost no reference at this point in my life at all. I know it's there, but all I know is it took me apart. And so life will do that. It has its gift in the struggle mode is that it diminishes you on some level. That's okay. Let it. Give it the power to make you less. You will come away from it freer. But do your best. Do your best. Don't be angry at the people. Don't find hostility. Be loving no matter what. It's a way to live. It's a great way to live. Okay.
Thank you, Bruce.
Anybody else there?
Bruce, what's the dog's name again?
Jiva. It's a Turkish word for the compound of mercury. And I nothing. That's nothing left to say about that.
Is Jiva going to be teaching meditation class?
For me, she is. I have never seen a better teacher, and I have to say, Burju and Ari together with that dog they are learning and teaching as well, and learning from an animal at that young age and watching it grow. And he's going to be a big dog, and And he's really, I mean, I can see the joy that's going to emanate from him from being well trained. That's really important.
You talk about 2025 being, traumatic, and really, often used to talk about, the greater the tension, the greater the anxiety, the better the growth opportunity.
That's a good point. I don't know if you could hear Lonnie say that, but Rudy would say, the greater the tension, the greater the struggle in a way, the greater the opportunity for growth. So if 2025 is struggle, grow a lot. We all have that opportunity. We really can emerge as remarkable beings. Not that we can emerge as it, we already are. It's just live it, be it, manifest it. Don't just get in there and cry about why me. It's not a good path, And I think you all know people who are on that path. Just give them hugs and go love you anyway. Okay, is that it? Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. We will continue, I guess. I don't know what for, but just to be there and love each other. Okay.